Dobar dan svima, veliko mi je zadovoljstvo da vam ispred inicijative Mladih s invaliditetom Boke poželim dobrodošlicu na webinaru o personalnoj
Good morning
asistenciji.
to all of you. It's a pleasure to wish you welcome to this webinar on personal assistant, organized within the system, understand and strengthen the life of persons with disabilities. Today's webinar will have 3 sessions. And in addition to the panelists, during the whole webinar, you'll be able to ask your questions, comments within the chat or within the section for questions and answers. Also, you'll be able, by raising your hand, to express your wish to address the panelists directly. The first session will deal with the concept and purpose of personal assistance. During the second one, we'll hear more about providing the service. And 11:30, we will have a 15-minute break. And 11:45, we'll hear more about personal assistance in Slovenia. This webinar is interpreted into English. And Montenegrin, so if you need, you can switch on the option for interpretation in the lower right corner of the screen. Now, it's a true pleasure to invite the person from the ENIL network, Antonella Candiago, to address us and take the floor. Antonella, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Should I start the presentation from my laptop?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, it is visible. Thank you.
Okay. So my name is Antonella. I am policy officer at the European Network on Independent Living. I think most of you are already familiar with that. We are a network across disability organization for independent living, and our core values are self-determination, self-representation, the institutionalization, choice, and control. And we fight for access to society, social services, and in particular, personal assistance. Oh. Okay, I will go quickly through this. Some of our key campaigns and activities. You probably heard about the Freedom Drive and the European Independent Living Day that we organize. So I would like to first focus on the concept of independent living. And we use the definition by Adolf Ratzka. Independent living is having the same range of options and same degree of self-determination that people without a disability take for granted. There are some pillars of independent living. Before there were 12, now 16. The DPOs are always working on that. We see there's communication support, personal assistance, social, civic, and judicial participation, access to the environment, inclusive education and lifelong learning, accessible transport, advocacy, accessible housing, income, legal rights, information, peer support, employment, accessible and inclusive healthcare, and technical aids and equipment. Personal assistance is indeed a crucial pillar for independent living. It's the tool that allows for independent living. So where can we find it? We find the concept of personal assistance in Article 19 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, under General Comment number 5, and in the guidelines on the institutionalization. The general comment number 5 provided the definitions of independent living being included in the community, independent living arrangements, and of course, personal assistance. Here we have the definition of personal assistance, person direct user-led human support, a tool for independent living, funding on the basis of personalized criteria, takes into account the standards of decent employment, and it's based on individual needs assessment and individual life circumstances. The personal assistance service must be controlled by the person with disability. It's a one-to-one relationship, can freely choose their degree of personal control over service delivery according to life circumstances and preferences, and control can be exercised through supported decision-making. It's also important to highlight that personal assistance must adapt to the diverse needs of disabled people, recognizing that these needs can differ across individual circumstances, such as employment status, participation in education, and other forms of social engagement. So it's really important that access to personal assistance is not restricted only to those in employment or education, because many disabled people may face barriers to participating in these areas, but still require personal assistance to avoid social isolation and the risk of exclusion. So these circumstances should be considered when defining eligibility to ensure that the system is inclusive and aligned with the principles of independent living and also with the UN CRPD. At ENIL, we work on a definition on personal assistance, which is, as mentioned before, a tool that allows for independent living. Personal assistance is purchased through earmarked cash allocations for disabled people, the purpose of which is to pay for any assistance needed. Personal assistance should be provided on the basis of an individual needs assessment, and depending on the life situation of each individual, these rates allocated for personal assistance to disabled people need to be in line with the current salary rates in each country. As disabled people, we should have the right to recruit, train, and also manage directly our assistants with adequate support if we choose. And we should be the ones that choose the employment model which is most suitable for our individual needs. And personal assistance allocations must also cover the salaries of personal assistants, but also other performance costs, such as all the contribution due by the employer, the administration costs, the peer support for the person who needs the assistance. There are some common myths regarding PA. Maybe you know more. It would be interesting to hear from you later. I wrote here some of them, like, for example, that any support at home can be defined as PA, that PA cannot be guaranteed for children. Then we have, it's better to have family members as PAs because they know you best. Disabled people should pay for their PA. PA is more expensive than institutions. PAs could be dangerous for disabled people and harm them. PAs need training and medical knowledge. They should have specific qualifications. And finally, PAs is only for people with physical impairments, while other disabled people cannot use this service. When it comes to the personal budget or direct payments, the general comment 5 states that the funding is to be controlled by and allocated to the person with disability with the purpose of paying for any assistance required. So what should the personal budgets do? The person can buy the support they need. It should cover the costs of employers' contribution and administration, cover other expenses to PA, such as transport, food when going out, the tickets for events, and so on. It should provide an incentive to buy PA and other community-based support services, discourage residential care, and come with peer support or supported decision-making. There are some challenges related waiting list. It covers only the salary cost, so no, for example, holiday entitlement or sick leave. It can be used to pay for the cost of residential care. It's complicated to use and come also with many restrictions. At ENIL, we work on a personal assistance checklist. I had it on the slide, the link to take a look at the document. Here we see that the PA checklist takes into account the context, funding, needs assessment, provision, and the working conditions. There are 10 elements of PAs. Top 10 enablers. The first one, the users can choose their personal assistants. These assistants are protected by health and safety provisions. The appeal procedure is straightforward, transparent, and there are no additional expenses for the personal assistant user. The scheme is provided irrespective of the family situation. And the users can keep their assistance when moving to another region or local authority within the country. The users of the personal assistance scheme have the opportunity to appeal the outcome of their assessments. Under this scheme, the user determines the times when assistance will be provided, including during nights, weekends, holidays, and so on. The scheme is underpinned by independent living philosophy and the social model of disability. The user can dismiss their personal assistance, and the provision of PA under the scheme is recognized as a human, civil, and social right. So these 10 elements were considered when elaborating the PA checklist. On this last slide, I added a few resources and materials that are important. The Mythbuster on personal assistance and the fact sheet on personal assistance created by ENIL. We have a document on the comparison between personal assistance and home care work and the independent living survey, even if now we are currently working on a new survey updating the previous data and to assess the status of independent living across Europe. We took in consideration the previous mentioned pillars, including, of course, personal assistant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonella. Hvala puno, Antonella.
So thank you very much, Antonella. Now it's my pleasure to announce the presentation from Martine Eliasson, who is political advisor at ULOBA. So Martine, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my presentation with you. Just hold on a bit. Here. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, Martine, we see it.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and congratulations on this UN Day of Person with Disabilities. It's a great way to celebrate it, to talk about an important tool for independent living and equality. So today I'm going to talk about the concept and purpose of personal assistant. I'm a political advisor at ULOBA Independent Living Norway, and we facilitate personal assistance in Norway and also working on so that all the disabled people in Norway can fully enjoy their human rights and fully participate in the society. So, as an introduction, let me start by asking, have you ever had someone try to tell you how to live your life? Like eat more broccoli, or you have to exercise daily, or you shouldn't watch Netflix until 3 a.m. in the morning. Now imagine if those people control not just your broccoli intake, but when you should get out of bed, where you should go, and even when you should go out to the bathroom. And that's where personal assistance or PA comes in, and why it's so important. Because it's about that disabled people take control in their own life and get self-determination and can fully participate in the society. So personal assistance is not just about someone that helps you. It's about ensuring that disabled people can live on our own terms, because personal assistance is based on independence, living where you want, how you want, with the freedom to make the choices like everyone else. It's about self-determination, because you are the boss in your own life. You are director of your life and your assistants. It's about fully participation in the society. It's about being a natural part of the society, and not just as a guest, but as an equal citizen of the society, as non-disabled people. So let me talk more deep into the three concepts here. Independence. Independence doesn't mean that you have to do everything alone, but it's about having control in your own life. Imagine, for instance, that you are going to a cafe and someone orders for you and say like, yeah, they will have a salad. No way, because with personal assistance, you can choose if you want a burger with extra fries, or even if you want to have a hot chocolate. Independence through personal assistance means that you can make your own decisions about where you want to live, whether it's it's in a bustling city or in a quiet village. It's about what you want to do with your day, if you want to study, go to work, or just hang out with your friends. It's about how you want to live your life. If you want to be super organized, or you want to go more with the flow vibe and take it as it comes. Self-determination means that you are being the CEO of your own life. It's about making your own decisions and living the way you want to choose. It means that you, with an assistance need, you hire your own team of assistants. You can hire a personal assistant that is a morning person that can assist you at sunrise, or you can hire someone that is ready to assist during your midnight brainstorming session. The point is that you decide who is going to work in your personal assistance team. You will also train your assistants because you are the expert on your own life and what you need. And the assistants, they are here to follow your lead. So you decide how they should do their task, how you want your apartment to be clean, or how you want to dress yourself. The important is that you direct your assistance team. You choose how and when your assistants fit into your life, which means you decide when they are going to work for you and where they are going to work, if it's at home or if it's in a shopping mall. It means that you plan your assistant schedule and when they are going to work for you and not. Personal assistance is not just about a day-to-day activities. It's about being part of the world. Personal assistants make it possible for disabled people to go to work or to go to school. It makes it possible to attend cultural events or protests. It makes it even possible for personal assistants to travel the world, to fall in love and starting our own family, living a life without barriers. Because, and this is very important, participation in the society is a right. It's linked with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, which means it's not a privilege, it's a right. It should not depend on whether someone is employed in education or actively participating in other predefined ways. When governments impose such restrictions, they create barriers that deny personal disabled people their fundamental rights and freedom. It means that every disabled people with assistance need should have the right for personal assistance so you can fully participate in the society, whether you're going to school or not, whether you're having a work or not. The point is that participation is a fundamental right that no one, no government should deny you. So why is personal assistance matters for the society? Well, personal assistance doesn't just benefit disabled people. Society thrives when everyone can contribute. And here's how. Personal assistance break down stereotypes about disabled people because society learns that disabled people are capable, independent, and equal citizens in the society. In that way, personal assistance changed the view of disabled people because these disabled people are not seen as people with need, but people with fundamental rights to be part of the society, to take on education, to have employment, and also have the opportunity to start our own family. So in that way, personal assistance changed the view of disabled people in the society. Personal assistance also reduced cost for institutional care because, let's face it, empowering individual is much more smarter than isolating them. Because personal assistance reduce cost for other medical and institutional care, it's much cheaper for the government to provide personal assistance for disabled people than forcing them into institutional care. Because in institutional care, you need healthcare workers, but personal assistance doesn't have to have health education. It can be personal assistant can be anyone. It can be someone that doesn't have high education. It only matters that the person have a good chemistry with the disabled people, the disabled person. So in that way, it reduced cost and cost for the healthcare personnel. And also it reduced cost because disabled people are given the opportunity to take on education and to have an employment, and that is also beneficial for society as a whole, and it's a very sustainable assistance scheme. Personal assistance also promotes equality and inclusion, which make the communities stronger and richer, because personal assistance make it possible for disabled people to take fully part of the society and to be included everywhere in all areas of life. And now I'm showing you a picture of a red box where our General Secretary, Vibeke Marer Melström, is in the middle of the red box. She is sitting in an electrical wheelchair, and she is holding on a megaphone. And in the background of the red box, you can see a lot of pictures from different political demonstrations, both in Norway and also in Brussels. And the point that I'm showing you this picture is that with personal assistance, you can change the view of disabled people. We can change our identity. We can become an activist if we want, or we can take on different hobbies. We can be traveling the world, or we can start a family. The point is that we disabled people should define which boxes we want to be in, because normally disabled people are forced into this medical care box and to be forced into living a passive life. But with personal assistance, we can have an active life and participate fully in the society and enjoy our human rights and civil rights as every citizens in the society. And here in Norway, ULOBA has been leading the charge of personal assistance since 1991. So in 33 years, we have been fighting to make sure that everyone has access to personal assistance through our BPA scheme, which stands for Citizens-Led Personal Assistance. And our vision is a society without barriers, where everyone can live free and equal lives. Because, in our words, personal assistance is about freedom and dignity. And in Norway, we are trying to change the law of personal assistance, because now it's anchored in the Health and Care Services Act. But we are trying to make our own personal assistance law that is close linked to the UN CRPD, to make sure that personal assistance is close linked to independent living, and that it's empowered disabled people to take a fully part of the society. Because now, when personal assistance is linked to the human health and care services law, we only get personal assistance hours to do the most basic thing in life, like getting out of bed, eating, and go to the bathroom, and then go back to the bed. But we need to make sure that we have personal assistance so we can take on education and have employment, and therefore it will be beneficial for the society as a whole to change the view of personal assistance, not as a part of the health and care services, but a part of the tool for independent living and tool for equality and human rights. So, to recap, personal assistance is much more than assistance services. It's a cornerstone for equality and human rights. It enables independence by allowing disabled people to live our life on their own terms. It fosters self-determination by putting control in the hands of disabled people, and it promotes full participation in all aspects of society, creating a more inclusive world for everyone. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Martine. Hvala puno, Martine, naročito što
Thank you,
si
Martine. Thank you
primjere
for
o
pointing
tome
out
koliko
the
personal
examples
asistent
of
znači za dostojanstven život osoba s
how much personal
invaliditetom i
assistance means for
što si istakla da je
the lives
ono
of
zar je ljudsko
persons with
pravo svake
disabilities,
osobe
and
s
for
invaliditetom
pointing
koji
out
ima
that
potrebu
it's
za
a human right of
servisom.
persons with
A
disabilities, that
sada
we all
je
have
vrijeme
need for
za
this, right? And now
pitanja i komentare
is
i
the
odgovore
time
panelistima.
for
Naravno,
questions,
ako
answers
ostane
and
vremena, ja
questions.
sam inspirisana
I am
izlaganjima
inspired
govornika
by
i zato
these
ću se javiti.
presentations, so I will also join you in this.
Za sada nemamo ni jedno pitanje na čatu i ne vidim da iko
For
digao
the
ruku.
time
Pa
being, we have no
ako-
questions on the chat,
Onda
and
bih
nobody
mogla ja da
raised
postavim
arms. So
pitanje
then I
Antonelli
could
i
ask a
Martini.
question to Antonella and Martine.
Trenutno su ugašeni mikrofoni.
Well,
Mislim
the
da bi trebalo da
microphones
nas
are
čuju.
off. I hope they can hear
Da li
us.
bih ja mogla da postavim pitanje?
Can I ask a question, please?
Možeš mi... Aha, evo, neko se javio. Ti si, da.
Okay,
Se
this
javila.
is you.
Ja imam pitanja
I have
dok
a
se
question
drugi ne osmijele da postave pitanje i daju
until
komentar.
other people
Imam
become
pitanje
more
za
courageous to
Antonellu i
ask questions. I
Martine.
have a question for
Pitanje za
Antonella and for
Antonellu je,
Martine.
da li je
The question
učešće
is,
korisnika u plaćanju troškova
is the
personalne asistencije
participation on the
suprotno članu
costs
19
for
Konvencije
personal
UN-a osoba s invaliditetom?
assistance contrary to the
Za
provisions
Martine,
of the UN Convention on the Rights
da
of
li u
Persons with
inozemstvu
Disabilities?
i osobe s
And for
invaliditetom
Martine,
mogu da ostvare pravo
can
na
persons
personalne
with disability in Norway
asistencije
get
24 sata
the right
dnevno
to
ukoliko im je toliko
personal
potrebno ili
assistance,
možda i
personal
više?
assistance for 24 hours a
Hvala
day
unaprijed na
if
odgovoru.
they need it? And thank you in advance for your answers.
Okay. So to reply the question, yeah, actually requiring disabled people to cover the participation cost of personal assistance doesn't align with the UN Convention. And Article 19 of the CRPD highlights the right to live independently and to be included in the community. And personal assistance is a critical tool to achieve this right. So access to this right shouldn't depend on an individual financial capacity. And also according to the CRPD General Comment number 5, the states must ensure that PA services are affordable or free of charge to prevent discrimination and exclusion based on the economic status. So yeah, actually requiring a payment can create these kind of barriers and undermine the principle of equal access and individuals' autonomy that instead the CRPD tried to protect. So PA should be funded as part of the country's the country obligation to support human rights. Hope it's clear.
Yeah, so in Norway, you have the right to achieve personal assistance when you have need of an assistance need for 24 hours a day. You have the right. Actually, you have an individual right to personal assistance when you have an assistance need that is over 25 hours of assistance a week. And if the municipality can say that it's more beneficial for you to achieve to get personal assistance when you have a need less than 25 hours per week, you can also get personal assistance. But you don't have an individual right to get it. by the law, but you can argument that it's more beneficial for you to get personal assistance than other services, because the personal assistance make it possible for you to take an education or have employment, and that you can argue that it's more beneficial for you and the society to give you personal assistance than other services.
Trenutno nema novih pitanja.
Can
Niko
I
se
also, yeah, I'm Elena Pečarič from Slovenia, YHD organization, association, and yeah, most of the, or almost everything is like we have in our Act of Personal Assistance, which passed in 1919. So now we have 5 years of practical experience. I also one of the user. I also one of the promoter of this law, because we, in our association, we fight 25 years before we get this law. And now we are not so satisfied. Better we have always to be very proactive, not to allow the government which they want to save the money and make changes in legislation in the opposite way that we see the independent living.
Hvala, Elena.
Thank you, Elena.
Imamo jedno pitanje
We have one question, or two questions actually. The first one, whether the right to PA has only the employed persons or persons in education, or the right can be provided to all of the persons who have an express need to get involved in society due to specific circumstances and social risks from exclusion. So this is the first question. So would any of you would like to provide an answer to this question?
I can, or Martine, you want?
Yes.
You want-
In Norway, you have the right, an individual right for personal assistance when you have assistance needs over 25 hours per week, and which means that you have the right, whether you are attending school or having an employment, you have also the right to prevent isolation. So if your need is over 25 hours per week, you have the right for personal assistance, and you don't need to have an education or go to work to have that right.
I can answer myself. In Slovenia, being active, it not means just to be employed or to be in education, but it's large. You can be also involved in the society, in the local municipality, to be active in other associations, to be active in political way, or to be a sport leader, or you have cultural activities. So it's more, it's large, this term. And always also For example, I have 24 hours per day, per 24 hours personal assistant. So without personal assistant, I can do nothing, really nothing. Even a telephone call, it's not easy for me. So during the night, I'm also on the briefing machine. During the day, I need also aspiration. I don't know if you know what is this. But I'm working. I'm working and I do a lot of other things because I also write free books and other stuff. I also be a candidate for the president in 2007. So in this sense, means to be active. And of course, if you don't have personal assistance, you can do nothing without personal assistance. It's obvious you can be active if only if you can personal assistance, because this is the principle, the main tool to start to do your vision, to achieve your projects, to do your whatever you want. Yeah. So this is the main tool, and this also in Montenegro, your politicians should think and decide about.
Hvala, Elena, pošto ćemo imati odvojenu sesiju.
Thank you, Elena. Since we will have a separate session on personal assistance in Slovenia,
Ovo čemu si govorila da
we can
proširimo,
delve into what you spoke about now during the third session, and perhaps maybe just Antonella, please respond to this question as well, and then we can continue with session 2 in order to stick to the agenda, and then we can come back to the second question during the second session, if you agree.
So just, I don't have so much to add, just that, of course, the right to PA should not be limited to employed individuals or people who are active in education. But in relation to my country, my home country is Italy, so personal assistance is not really recognized at a national level as a profession. So there are many differences on this according to the different regions. So there are many disparities because they have a lot of, they can decide a lot on this. And we say the second question, we address it later, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Hvala puno na pitanjima i
Thank you very much for the questions. And of course, stay with us, said that we can answer to the other questions that will be raised based on your inspiration or based on what the panelists will present. So we will hopefully have other questions from other participants. And now it's a pleasure to announce Jessica Smaaland. Hopefully I pronounced first name and last name, political secretary of STIL from Sweden, who will tell us more about the provision of this service in Sweden and how it's regulated. So Jessica, thank you for being with us, and you have the floor.
Thank you. I will start my presentation. Just hope you can see it. Hello everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about personal assistance in Sweden, and I hope you will find this presentation helpful and interesting. I will just see. No. I just need to just move this. So now I can see my screen. Yes, my name is Jessica Smaaland, and I work with political advocacy and influence at STIL, the founders of independent living in Sweden. STIL has been a pioneer in promoting the rights of disabled persons, and personal assistance has always been central to our work. STIL was founded over 40 years ago by disabled persons who wanted to take control of their own life. Back in the 1980s, this was quite a radical idea. Disabled persons in Sweden at that time had little or no control over how their support was provided. They were often forced to rely on services that didn't meet their individual needs or respect their autonomy. Through STIL, a group of individuals came together to create a system where they could make decisions about their own support. This led to the introduction of personal assistance, which has since transformed the lives of thousands of people in Sweden. And for us, personal assistance isn't just a service. It's a tool that ensures independence, dignity, and the ability to participate in society on equal terms. For many disabled persons, it's the difference between being isolated or living a full life. In Sweden, personal assistance enables individuals to take control of their daily lives. It gives them freedom to choose who supports them, when the support is provided, and how it's delivered. This focus on choice and control is central to the idea of independent living and reflects Sweden's commitment to inclusion and equality. Today, I will talk about the history of personal assistance in Sweden, how the system works today, the challenges we are facing, and what the future might look like. By the end of this presentation, I hope to give you a clear understanding of how personal assistance has become a cornerstone of independent living in Sweden and why we continue to fight for its improvement and protection. So I start with a brief history. The concept of personal assistance in Sweden was, as I said, introduced by STIL in the mid-1980s. At that time, disabled persons in Sweden didn't have much choice and control over the support they received. Services were provided by municipalities or other organizations, and the individuals had little to say in how and when the assistance was delivered. In 1986, STIL initiated a groundbreaking project in Stockholm. This project gave individuals the funds that would have gone to home care services. Instead, they can use this money to hire their own personal assistant. This wasn't just an innovative idea, it was a radical shift in how support was provided. It put power and control into the hands of the individuals themselves, something that was unheard of at that time. The 1986 project was transformative. For the first time, disabled person could decide who would assist them, what tasks they needed help with, and when this support would be provided. This gave them independence and the ability to participate more fully in society. The idea of disabled person managing their own assistance was revolutionary at the time. Policymakers and authorities were skeptical. Actually, many persons with disability were also skeptical. So many doubted that individuals could handle their responsibility of managing their own support. But STIL proved them wrong. The project demonstrated that disabled persons are fully capable of making decisions about their lives when given the right tools and support. The success of this project inspired the Swedish government to adopt personal assistance as a part of national legislation. In 1994, the LSS law, the Act concerning support and service for persons with certain functional impairments, was introduced. This law guaranteed the right to personal assistance, allowing disabled persons to live independently and participate fully in society. An important aspect of the Swedish system is that individuals who need support with decision-making and who cannot directly manage or supervise their personal assistance still has the right to personal assistance. This reflects a long-standing commitment to inclusion and equality that has been a part of these systems since its inceptions. Today, as we celebrate International Day of Persons with Disability, it's important to recognize Sweden's pioneering role in personal assistance. When the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability was adopted over 20 years after Sweden introduced its personal assistance legislations, Sweden's early work has become a practical example how these principles can be implemented in practice. The CPD emphasizes choice, control, and self-determination, values that have underpinned Sweden's personal assistance system since the 1990s. By giving disabled persons the ability to decide who provides their support, who is delivered and when, Sweden has demonstrated a long-standing commitment to the full inclusion and participation of disabled persons in all aspects of life. Personal assistance is a cornerstone of this approach, making Sweden a global leader and inspiration for other nations. Now I will talk a bit about how it works in Sweden, personal assistance. Over the past 30 years, the legislation for personal assistance in Sweden has undergone many changes, both in its rules and how they are applied. When the system was first introduced, there were only few regulations, and the process was relatively simple. Today, the rules have become much more detailed, and the system is now governed by comprehensive legislation. This development has brought both clarity and challenges, as more complex regulation sometimes makes it harder for individuals to access the support they need. But to qualify for personal assistance in Sweden, you must first belong to one of 3 groups covered by the LSS law. And those groups are people with intellectual disabilities and autism. And the second group is people with significant and permanent intellectual disabilities caused by brain injury in adulthood. And then people with other long-time physical or psychological disability that are not clearly due to normal aging. And the responsibility for personal assistance is divided between the municipality and the state in Sweden. And if a person so-called basic needs required at least 20 hours a week, the state funds the assistance. For those with fewer than 20 hours of basic needs, the municipality is responsible. While there are no strict lower limit at the municipality level, assistance usually starts at around 6 hours of those basic needs per week. And the basic needs refer to essential daily activities that individuals may require assistance with to maintain their dignity and independence. These include tasks such as personal hygiene, eating and drinking, dressing, communicating with others, and breathing, and some other stuff. Once you qualify with your basic need, you gain access to other types of assistance. For example, you need help with activities like shopping, cooking, and attending social events, or working, or studying, or everything in life. And the system adapts to each individual's unique requirements. And to determine the number of hours of personal assistance someone is entitled to, we go through a needs assessments. The assessment evaluates the individual needs for basic and other types of assistance. And this is important. In Sweden, personal assistance is granted based on individual needs, not employment, education, or social activity. The system ensures that all individuals, regardless of their circumstances, can live independently and with dignity. This approach highlights Sweden's unique commitment to inclusion, where even those needing decision-making support are entitled to personal assistance. And there are no maximum amount of hours you can be granted. Therefore, some people have 48 hours personal assistance per day, meaning that they have 2 PA working 24 hours, 24/7. And a bit about the funding. For every hour of personal assistance that is granted, the individual received a fixed amount of money, approximately 32 euro per hour. This funding is used to cover a variety of costs, including assistant salary, administrative fees, training, and other expenses related to the personal assistance. For example, if the person travels, the assistance travel cost is also included. It is up to the individual or their service provider to manage these funds, responsible to ensure that all necessary costs are covered. And there are essentially no strict limit to what a personal assistant can do. For some individuals, assistance is needed with everyday tasks like cleaning, cooking, or shopping. Others may require more care-oriented support, such as help with medical-related tasks. In such cases, healthcare professionals decide if a personal assistant can perform these tasks. Because one of the fundamental ideas behind personal assistance is that it replaces multiple different service providers. Instead of relying on various professionals for different tasks, a personal assistant offers comprehensive and flexible support tailored to the individual needs. And now I will talk about some of our current challenges here in Sweden, because it's not always that easy to sustain this kind of support. And one of the biggest challenges in Sweden personal assistance systems today is how the concept of these basic needs is interpreted. Because over the past 15 years, there's been a gradual narrowing of what qualifies as a basic needs. For example, while dressing is considered a basic need, putting on outdoor clothing is not, as it is no longer seen as sufficiently close to a personal integrity. These changes have come from court rulings and decisions by authorities, which have shaped the interpretation of the law over time. Another example is assistance with meals. While feeding is considered a basic need, preparing the food often is not, even if a person cannot do it themselves. This distinction creates unnecessary barriers and make it harder for people to access the assistance they truly need. The approach to splitting up needs into separate components has created a situation where some essential activities are excluded, even though they are closely linked to basic needs. Sorry. This restrictive interpretation has had a significant impact. Over the years, around 4,000 to 5,000 people have lost the right to personal assistance. For many, this has meant losing not just their support, but also their ability to live independently and participate fully in society. The system, which once was a model of inclusion, has been increasingly difficult to access. But in recent years, there have been attempts to reverse some of these changes. For example, reading was recently added as a basic need, which was a critical step for many individuals who require life-sustaining support. However, despite this adjustment, the Swedish Social Insurance Agency and municipality continue to interpret the law very, very restrictively. This limited progress highlights the need for broader changes. Adding breathing as a basic need was a necessary step, but it only helps a small group of people. For others, the restrictive interpretations continue to exclude essential aspects of daily life, leaving them without the support they need to live independently. These developments have not only reduced access to personal assistance, but have also placed additional pressure on families and alternative care systems. Many individuals who lose their assistance are left with limited options, often relying on family member or institutional care, which goes against the principle of choice control and independent living that the system was designed to uphold. And of course, also it goes against the CRPD. Still are trying to work against this, and a concrete example of what we are working on right now is pushing for a legal change so that all basic needs are counted in their entirety and not divided into smaller steps or tasks. For example, putting on outdoor clothing should be considered a part of the overall need for dressing. We are also advocating for personal assistance to be state-funded. There is currently a proposal to make this change, which could remove the shared responsibility between municipalities and the state. However, we cannot support this proposal until the law regarding basic needs is amended. Without this change, there is a significant risk that many more people will lose the right to personal assistance, as the municipality wouldn't longer serve as a safety net. So, a bit about the future. Sweden likely, although these problems, every problem with the legislation, Sweden likely has the best legislation in the world when it comes to personal assistance. This is due to several unique features of our system. One of the key reasons for its success is that the majority of personal assistance is funded by the state. This creates a level of stability and security that is essential for those who rely on assistance to live their lives independently. It also ensures that the system isn't overly dependent on local resources, which can vary greatly between municipalities. Another strength is the flexibility of our systems. Personal assistance in Sweden is tailored to meet individual needs, whether it's providing help with basic needs, complex care, or double assistance for those who require it. The fact that some individuals can receive as much as 48 hours assistance per day demonstrates the system's capacity to adapt to even the most extensive needs. And still work a lot international, and That's because personal assistance isn't just a Swedish issue, it's a universal right. And this is why we believe it's so important to participate in international discussion like this one. Sharing our experience allows us to contribute to the global movement of independent living while learning from others to improve our own system. For example, Sweden's success with personal assistance has inspired other countries to consider similar models, and we are proud to share the principle of choice, control, and dignity that underpin our approach. At the same time, international collaboration helps us address common challenges. For example, many countries face issues with funding, accessibility, and restrictive interpretation of assistance need. By working together, we can find solutions that will benefit everyone. And as we look into the future, we see opportunities to strengthen personal assistance future, both in Sweden and globally. In Sweden, our focus is on protecting and improving the rights of disabled persons, ensuring that personal assistance continue to provide the independence and flexibility it was designed for. International, we see a growing interest in personal assistance, and we are eager to support other countries in developing their own systems. And although there are challenges, Sweden's personal assistance system remains a model for others to follow. It demonstrates what is possible when legislation prioritizes the right and autonomy of a disabled person. By continuing to advocate for these principles, we can help ensure that personal assistance remains a powerful tool for equality and dignity worldwide. And that was it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share Sweden's experience with personal assistance. I hope this presentation has provided useful insights, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and learning from your experience as well.
Hvala Jessica puno, Jessica, tako reći. Hvala
Thank
puno
you,
na
Jessica or
izlaganju.
Jessica.
Sad
Thank
bih
you for your
iskoristila
presentation.
priliku
And
da
now I
samo
would use this
pročitamo pitanje koje smo
opportunity
ostavili
to
možda
read the
na kraju prve
questions
sesije,
that
posle
we
izlaganja Antonelle i Martine.
had to
Prvo
read at the end of the first
s
session. The
obzirom na
first question
situaciju osobe sa teškim invaliditetom, personalna
regarding the
asistencija
persons
više nije
with
jedina
profound
usluga potrebna za
disabilities,
samostalan
personal
život.
assistance is
Da li
not the only
postoje
service
propisi koji
necessary for
ograničavaju
individual
broj
life. Are
usluga
there any
koje može da koristi jedna osoba u vašoj zemlji?
regulations that restrict the number of services that one person in your country can use?
Can you please, I was just not focused because I didn't see you. So can you please ask me again?
Aha, ovo je pitanje sa kraja prve sesije.
This is the question from the end of the first session. Having in consideration persons with profound disabilities, personal assistance is not the only service necessary for persons with disabilities. Are there any restrictions as to how many services one person with disabilities can use in your country? So can I ask Antonella and Martina if they have answers to join us?
Yes. Yeah, actually, since personal assistants are meant to, I mean, if you have personal assistant, you don't need other kind of services. And if you have another services, like you're living in a group home or you going, well, almost at least if you go in school and or if you have some sort of daily activities that is also in the LSS law, then you don't have access to personal assistance in those institutions. So it's restrictions of having more than one service as a disabled person here in Sweden.
Hvala, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Antonella ili Martine?
Now, Antonella or Martine.
Yes, it's the same system in Norway as well, that when you have personal assistance, you don't need other services from the government, because all the services that you need to assist your needs should be included in the personal assistance scheme. However, if you are attending school, you are not allowed to bring your personal assistance there. So your school will appoint assistants working in the school to assist you when you are at school. And also as a student, you are not allowed to bring your personal assistance at the university. So we're trying to change that in Norway, that you bring your personal assistance with you wherever you are, in different arenas, if it is at school, at home, at work, or out in the society. You should be allowed to have your own personal assistance with you. And also in Norway, if you are living in a group home, that sometimes the government will decline your application for personal assistance, because they say that your assistance needs should be met by the personnel working in the group home. And also we are trying to change that, because if we make personal assistance as a tool for independent living, then you should have all your services included in the personal assistance scheme in a way. But that is the challenges in Norway now.
Hvala, Martine. Ako
Thank you,
nema
Martine.
još neko nešto da doda, možemo da
Unless
pročitamo
there
još
are
jedno
other
pitanje koje je
questions
stiglo isto
or
na
somebody
kraju
has to
prve
add something,
sesije.
we can read
Na koji
another
način se
question.
angažuju
In
personalni
what way
asistenti?
can you
Da li
hire
je to
personal
ugovor o radu?
assistance?
I
Is
kako
it
se određuje
a
iznos
service
novčane
contract?
naknade? Da li
And
se
how
raspisuje
do you
konkurs za izbor
determine the
personalnog
amounts
asistenta?
for remunerations? And do you need to advertise this as a position?
Here in Sweden, you can choose how to choose that too. You can have the municipality as a provider of the personal assistance. You can have some sort of other company or cooperative that will provide personal assistance. Or you can also be your own employer, and hire your own personal assistance. So it depends on how you want to do it. And some people want the municipalities because they have a lot of staff, and you always have somebody who come to you, maybe. I don't know. And as a person as me, I'm my own employer for my personal assistance, because I want the total choice and control over the whole situation myself. So it's up to the assistance user to decide how to do it.
Hvala, Jessica. Koliko još neko ima odgovor na ovo
Thank
pitanje,
you.
može slobodno
If
da se
anyone
uključi.
else can
Imamo
answer
još
to this
jedno pitanje da
question,
pročitamo.
please join us. If not, we have one more
Yeah.
question to read out.
Martine?
Martine?
It works the same in Norway as well. Most people choose a private company or a independent living organization as us to facilitate the personal assistance, or they choose to have the municipalities to facilitate the personal assistance, and a very few are their own employer for the personal assistant, but that's more real in it's not so often that happens in Norway. Most people choose to have a private company or the municipalities to facilitate the personal assistance in Norway.
Hvala, Martin.
Thank you,
Koliko
Martine.
niko nema
If
više da se uključi
nobody
da
else
odgovori na
has
ovo pitanje,
anything to
pročitat ću
add,
sljedeće.
I will ask
Sljedeće, da li
the
djeca i
next
osobe sa
question.
intelektualnim
Is whether
invaliditetom ostvaruju
children and
pravo na
persons with
personalnu
intellectual
asistenciju u vašim
disability have the
zemljama?
right to personal assistance in your countries?
Yes, they do. It isn't only they have the same right as everyone else, as long as they belongs to these three kinds of groups and that they have enough of those basic needs, then they can have personal assistance as well. Yeah.
Hvala, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yes, so in Norway, the individual right for personal
Norveškoj
assistance is
oni
cross
također imaju
disability. So it means that
pravo na to,
whenever which
s tim što
disability you have, if you have a need
opština
over
možete da pokrivate tu
25
oblast,
hours per week, you have
bez
an
obzira na to koju vrstu
individual
invaliditeta imate,
right
ukoliko vam je potrebna
for personal
asistencija
assistance.
24
So
sata
that
na
counts for
dan,
person with intellectual disability as well.
što obično
Hvala,
zahtevaju
Martin.
osobe sa mentalnim hendikepom, to opština
Koliko
završava.
niko više nema šta da doda na to pitanje, imamo jedno
If
pitanje
nobody has anything
od
to
Ivane
add,
Nedović. Evo,
we have a question
sad
from
će
Ivana
da se
Nedović.
uključi da postavi pitanje, pošto je podigla
She will
ruku.
join us to ask the question.
Izvoli, Ivana.
Ivana, please take the floor.
Malo je slabije,
Good
ali
morning, I hope you can hear me.
probajte.
Ja sam Ivana Nedović,
My
sekretarka
name is
Odbora za
Ivana
ljudska
Nedović.
prava
I am the secretary of the board for social affairs in the union municipalities. I would like to congratulate you on your day, and I would like to thank you for inviting me to take part in this webinar, particularly to our dear Mima. And I would like to thank the experts and the panelists for sharing their experience, which will be very precious for drafting the new law on social and child protection that the Line Ministry already started drafting. And this is more a comment to what I have heard, and I wanted to bring the attention of other participants from Montenegro to have in mind all these experiences that we heard today when we start working on the law, and when we'll be invited to define the personal assistance as a service, under which conditions it should be provided, from which funds it should be paid. I am the member of the working group, so I will use everything that I've heard today. And I hope that together we will find legal solutions and the solutions will be adequate for the users. I'm really glad that you mentioned that in the countries that are much more advanced than ours, the personal assistance service is perceived from the point of view of human rights and not from the medical point. And that is very important experience that we will try to apply here when we propose the new provisions of the law. So my specific question, since I come from the Union of Municipalities, is related to financing. So that in Sweden, financing is divided between the government and municipalities, and the law prescribes that the government will provide personal assistance. And is that your recommendation for countries that are in transition, that are not so financially powerful? And also whether in the law we should prescribe the provision that the government will prescribe the financing of these services. Thank you, Ivana.
Yes, we recommend that it is the state that is responsible for the funding, since the municipalities have different. They don't have the same. It differs a lot between if you live up in the north or in the south, and it's your human rights shouldn't be in the budget for the same thing as football play. We have to play what is called a sport hall or some streets, or should we make the street better or wider, or should we give this person personal assistance? That shouldn't be an issue. And also a state level mean that you can move around in your country without having to reassessment your needs for personal assistance, and so it's more freely. So you can move freely around the country. So it's very important for us that it is a state level funding of the personal assistance, but of course, as I said, it must be guaranteed that the rights are that you have the rights, and not like it is now in Sweden, that the basic needs are just so narrow that it's hard to get personal assistance, because then the municipality can't do anything and just provide institutional care if you don't get any personal assistance. So, well, yeah.
Hvala, Jessica.
Can I also say respond? We have a law. So
Mi imamo
all
zakon,
the cost of personal assistance
tako da svi troškovi personalne asistencije su pokriveni od strane države, ne od strane lokalne opštine, jer sada kad imamo zakon, opštine plaćaju samo socijalnu njegu ili pružaju druge servise koji pružaju osnovne potrebe, ali ako imate personalnu asistenciju, to znači da ako vam treba više od 30 sati sedmično, oni plaćaju sve, čak i za ozbiljne oblike invaliditeta. Na primjer, prije
disability and I don't need
Ja
other
imam ozbiljan
services
invaliditet i nisu
because
mi potrebni
all my
drugi servisi,
assistance and all my hours per
jer
day
sva
are
pomoć i
covered.
ti sati
So
dnevno
it's
su
my
pokriveni,
to teach and
tako da postoji ta odgovornost
my personal assistants
da,
what I
da
need
naučim
to have
svoje
in what
personalne
way
asistente šta
and
mi je
when,
potrebno, na koji način i kada,
something. So
kada mi je nešto potrebno.
other services, for example, if
Drugi
I
servisi, na primjer, ako
if I get ill, I go to
se
the doctor.
razbolim, ja idem
If
kod
I
doktora.
need something, I go
Ako mi nešto
to
treba,
other services. So
onda
I
se
really
obratim
don't
nekom drugom
know
servisu.
what
I
should
ne
be
znam
other
šta bi to trebalo da
services.
bude
Maybe I ask
računato pod pojmom
the specification
ostali servisi. Možda bi mi tu trebalo pojašnjenje.
Who can question what, because I do
Šta bi se tu
all
ubrajalo,
with the help of my
jer ja radim sve sam uz pomoć svojih asistenata.
for example
I ako idem, na primjer,
to the doctor and
kod
I'm very ill,
doktora, jako sam bolesna,
my assistants go with me
moji
and
asistenti
they
idu sa mnom
all the aspiration I need
i oni
and all
organizuju
other
aspirator
stuff I need
i sve drugo što mi je potrebno
get in the hospital. For
dok ne
example,
dođem u bolnicu,
in the hospital,
pa i u
because
bolnici,
in the hospital
jer znate, u bolnici
they are not used to different
oni
people.
nisu navikli na razne ljude, tako da
Don't know how to manage with me.
oni ne znaju kako da nekad rade sa
Even
mnom.
in the hospital, possibility to
Čak i u
that they
bolnici
have
postoji
my
mogućnost
personal assistants with me.
postoji mogućnost da svoje lične asistente dovedem sa sobom.
Pošto smo već prekoračili
Hvala, Elena.
vrijeme za pauzu, voljela bi da nam ostane makar malo vremena da u međuvremenu se presaberemo, naravno.
I wish that we have some time
imat ćemo
to
pauzu do 11:45.
relax.
Tako je bilo
We'll
planirano
be on
po
break
agendi.
until
Tako da u međuvremenu vi možete
11:45.
naravno ostati na webinaru i
So
slati
you
vaša
can stay on the
pitanja
webinar, send your
u
questions
chatu i Q&A
in the chat and in the
sekciji.
Q&A section.
Naravno, poslije pauze
Of
nas
course,
očekuje
after the
i
break,
posebna
we'll have
sesija o personalnoj asistenciji
separate
u
session on
Sloveniji.
personal
Tako da
assistance in
već
Slovenia.
postavljena
So
pitanja možemo
the questions that were already raised, we can go through them
to kakva je situacija
in relation to
u
what the
Sloveniji.
situation
Znači,
is like in Slovenia. So to give the
malo
example
bliže
from
nama,
Slovenia,
Crnoj Gori po
which is closer to us
razvijenosti
from Montenegro when it comes to development and geographic
također odgovoriti
area,
na ova druga pitanja
but also respond the other questions
ukoliko ih bude od strane
if there will be any.
dati odgovore od strane Jessica, Martini,
Well,
Antonella.
Jessica, Martina, and Antonella will give the answers. So we had a short break. Hopefully, at least you get the chance to have some water, at least.
Elenu Pečarič,
Now it's a pleasure to announce Elena Pečarič, program manager and head of the Society for Theory and Culture of Disability from Slovenia, who already participated.
Svoju sesiju da
And she
objasni
will have
detaljno
her session
kako personalna
to explain in
asistencija
detail how personal
reguliše i
assistance
pruža u
regulates
Sloveniji
and
i
is
odgovoriti
provided
pitanja
in
koja su
Slovenia.
već postavljene, koja
She will answer the
naravno
questions
ćete biti inspirisani
that
da
were
postavite
raised. So hopefully you will be inspired to ask her some questions. So Elena, you have the floor.
Hello to everybody. Like Mima said, I'm Elena Pečarič, I'm manager, leader of our association. So I'm also philosopher and sociologist. I would speak about our legislation in Slovenia, which I mentioned that we have this legislation from 2019. So a lot happened in this time, and I will present a little bit our Personal Assistance Act, which is act by himself. It's not a part of social or other legislation, so it's a quite a good achievement, but the implementation not so good, so we have to be very prepared always to fight to the principle of independent living. A lot was said before by Jessica, by Antonella, and by Martine. So all these principles, it was our still it was our leading model when we start to fight for the Independent Living Act. So also Ada Fraska was our big, I can say, mentor or role model. And we want to have as much as possible the good legislation. So maybe the main difference that we Slovenia don't have, it's a personal budget. We don't have this because we planned because our legislation before, you know, it was ex-Yugoslavia when Slovenia became independent. So maybe with Montenegro we have quite similar structures. We put in different way. So if someone can show my slides, please.
Klaudija, mislim da ima dozvolu da podeli, pa...
Claudia, I believe,
Okay.
is
Yes, Anna.
allowed to share it.
Okay.
Okay, Claudia is with us.
Okay. Just a minute. Подключи аудио.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, Claudia.
It looks like
You
camera
say-
is not working, but
You say
I can
my
see you.
Yeah, can you put the slides on that we can share?
Just a second. Share.
Mhm. No.
Can you see the slides?
Yeah, we can see. Okay, go to the second slide, please. Definition. Like we said before, is definition is personal help to the user in everyday tasks and activities. I emphasize that these activities, it means every activities that person need because of their or his or her disability at home and outside home. This is very important because we don't want to be just at home, and we want to be active and to independent, involved in society. The user can organize his or her own personal assistant. This means that we choose our personal assistant. We have an interview, and if we choose it with each other, then we are partners in this independent living. Users choose their personal assistants, and also a personal assistant provider. Those who can decide everything by themselves have also a legal representative or a person who can help to make this bureaucratic and other representative tasks.
That means that a legal representative puts in the application for personal assistance and also sign the documents accordingly to the personal assistance law. That means the agreement between personal assistance and service provider, the agreement between users, service provider, and personal assistance. This is everything. What's the task of user of personal assistance? It's a task of legal representative if a person has a legal representative.
The users and also the principle that we fight for, and it's our principle, and almost the same that we are heard before from the STIL and from the ENIL and from the ULOBA. So freedom of choice and decision making, social integration in the individual treatment. It's very important. So our user decide. It's not one model, but every user decides how we will live, how he or she will live, and then it's very individual, equal opportunity and accessibility, of course.
Those are the principles, yes.
These are the principles. And if when you have to apply for the personal assistant, you have to prove the disability, what kind or proof of disability is the principle. Then you have to.
No, it's not a principle. It's who can be user of personal assistance accordingly to the law. It's the first one is you must have a proof, a disability, of course, and a proof of disability if you have a proof. If you don't have, then you can still apply for the personal assistance law, but you must prove your disability in other way. This is accordingly to the law from 2022, but the new changes are changing this, but we don't know what will be changed in this way. This is the first thing that must be fulfilled to apply for personal assistance.
Now it is like this. So you have, even if you don't have the proof of disability, you can also apply. But you, when you have an assessment, you should describe for what you need, what is your need in everyday life. Like I said before, 40 hours step to be a user of personal assistance law. Under this hour, you are not allowed to have.
Then
So-
you must also have, of course, permanent residence in Slovenia. You must live out of institutional care, and there is a age limitation in our law from 18 to 65 years old. But you can be a user of personal assistance regardless of personal income and assets. That means that you are not paying extra for personal assistance if your income is maybe a little bit higher than a minimum income.
Yeah. Personal assistance services, it's made for basic need, what we are talking before, but basic need, it's mean everything. For example, I did everything, not just dress and put on the wheelchair, but also to make my makeup or other things I want to have to be presentable and to go to the work or to go on meeting and to go, or everything.
Elena, maybe it's important if you say in basic needs there are also all the needs you have by using medication and technical aid that you need in everyday life, but in a way if they can be done by your relative, then they can be done also by personal assistant.
Yeah, but this I explained before that I have also briefing machine, aspirator, a lot of medical machines that maybe someone can, when someone can get afraid maybe, but it's for me it's like normal and everyday needs. They're quite normal. Housing in where I live, cooking, laundry, or the other treatment that I need in my house. Also, maybe if the user have a child, but according to users
Instructions.
Instruction and
in the presence of the user.
It's not that I'm a computer. I said do this, and I will check later. No. By always all these tasks as with the presence of the user.
And by the instruction of the user.
Yeah. And also, if you go outside your house, driving a car, or workplace, and also a communication. Communication is means maybe for blind person that someone read his letters or other things, and also to give him information, and also to with communication in general, or with the environment also, and also maybe through a computer, through other things, or in an environment, if someone can understand you, so personal assistants can repeat your sentence to be more understood. So now we are talking about personal assistance providers in Slovenia. We have now 102 providers. We are one of them. That means that it's non-profit, NGO activity, association with public, with the status of public interest in the field of disability, but not only. We have, like I said, 202 personal assistance providers, and many of them established after the law was passed, because before we were just, I think, 6 or something like that. Many of them, unfortunately, without the necessary accreditation of proof of qualification. This is a kind of problem with us, but here in Slovenia, but you can ask after for more specification. Okay, then the assessment also is very important. At the beginning, it was another tool for the assessment. Now we change a little bit.
And also another commission, not just another
Yeah.
tool, also another commission.
Expert commission.
Now it's an expert commission. Before it was like non-expert commission with a register of the members of the commission.
The members of the commission are experts who have at least 4 years of professional practical knowledge in the field of disability or social condition. Commission give an opinion of the number of hours and also content of the personal assistance on the basis of a personal interview with the user or legal representative. Like we said before, some people can or need also legal representative that user have at home in assessing the type of content and extent it needs. The commission and the user or legal representative will use an assessment from the activities for which the user needs assessment. So when the user has this assessing hours, then can choose the
Yes, the rights to personal assistance is is in hours. In decision is in hours
Hours
per week.
per week. Yeah.
But that means that if you don't use the hours per week you have this week, you cannot use more hours next week. You can use just the maximum hours per week as you have in your assessment decision.
You cannot save and then maybe the holiday time to yeah, it's per week. That means next week will
start
disappear.
again.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you say, Elena, that the personal assistance can be up to 24 hours per day?
24, yeah.
This is the maximum. That's
Yeah,
the
I said,
maximum of. So that means that's 168 hours per week. It's a maximum of personal assistance that the person in Slovenia.
Yeah. Because it's in the Sweden and also in ULOBA they have more possibilities.
They have also
Yeah.
a possibility of double hours.
Hours, yeah.
That means that some activities per week, for example, bathing, or which are maybe a little bit harder, that you need more than one person, you can also have double hours. In Slovenia, you cannot have double hours of personal assistance. If you need more than one person to assist you, then the second person must be your friend, your relative, or paid by yourself. After you got the right to personal assistance, you choose your service provider.
Yeah, your service provider, and then you can, for example, from the YHD, because we are the best, and we make the implementation plan, like it's called. This means that we this hours we transfer in a practical schedule, and we also looking for the assistance, maybe
candidates.
User, yeah, the candidate, but maybe a user also can also look at her or his social
in his social environment. Yeah, we are very happy when a user come with their own candidates, because there is like in other countries, also in Slovenia, there is a lack of people who decide to work as personal assistants. It's because it's not so good paid job and also not recognized much in the society. But the basic problem is the payment.
To find,
yeah,
also to find a person, yeah. So we make, okay, should just pass, okay.
You want me to put back?
No,
I can put back.
Claudia, please help me to describe other services, because we also talk about what is excluded from the personal assistance and what is not excluded from the view of other services. So
personal assistance can be combined with help at home, guidance, care and employment under special conditions for employment and social inclusion, which are founded, those are some services founded from public sources. But in this case, the number, if you use some hours help at home, then the number of your approved hours of personal assistance is reducted. But this is the services you can combine with personal assistance, but you cannot combine them with institutional care. That means that if you are all day in institutional care, you cannot have also personal assistance. Housing with support, serviced by the social inclusion law, but not available yet. It's also not possible to combine with personal assistance. Prison sentence, of course, also not. And then we have also a kind of service which is called like family supporters. This is by long-term care law. And if you have one family members employed as family supporters, then you cannot have personal assistance. But you can have your family members employed as personal assistants. For now, the limitation it's 2 family members can be employed as personal assistants. And also, if you are in a hospital for a very long time, that means longer than 30 days, 1 month, then you can not use any more personal assistance. But it doesn't mean that they take you away from you. It just means that it's like frozen. This right is like frozen until you come out from the hospital. So in practice, also a lot of people, when they are going to hospital, especially people with severe severe disabilities and with a lot of hours of personal assistance, are also using personal assistance in hospitals because the nurses are not so familiar with their needs as their personal assistants are. For example, Elena, she's taking her personal assistance to a hospital.
I won't survive otherwise. Without my personal assistance, I won't survive in the hospital. Yeah.
But this is possible only for 30 days. So, Elena, training?
Yeah, training is another obligatory tool that we have in the law, but also we are like a provider of personal assistance. And this training, it's made by the user, for the user, because the user has to train his personal assistants to how to need what he need or she need in everyday practice. So everything, and then it's also a training on why personal assistance. That also our workers understand the principle of independent living, and also became familiar with convention and all the tools that we use to be independent, and so all the principle, also managing the maybe miscommunication with the user and the personal assistant. To solve any problems. Yeah, it's obligatory 6 hours per year, so it's also paid. This training and we training the users and also the personal assistants, so they have notice. Yeah, quite the same.
Yeah, for personal assistant, it's 8 hours per year. For user, is 6 hours per year. Yes. Yeah, it's 2 hours difference, but usually we do the training together. That means that means that also they hear each other voices, and they hear each other
complaining or maybe
not complaining, how they see the work or the problems, and because additional training is made also every year, and then in this additional training we we are asking the users and also personal assistant, what do you think that the theme of additional training should be? What do you lack of, or what do you think that we should make more emphasis on? So it's
which part,
which part it's
training.
very useful also for both of them. But the most important training is by the user. That means that practical part it's organized by user before starting to work. That means that the user it's like checking out how if the assistant, the candidate for personal assistance is or can be right for them. Yeah, this is also the basic content. We are also in our organization, the emphasis is on the principle of independent living. That means how the assistant should look accordingly to the independent living aim.
That means no pity, no care, no other, I don't know, frustration. This is not a medical training. So we try to emphasize what is independent living and how the user can be independent and how the users can emancipate themselves, not to be carried about or
Yeah, not to be an object of care, but to be a subject of your own life, to have the right of self-determination.
Oh, problems, always problems. We are very critical in our organization because we see a lack of knowledge or experience about being a personal assistant provider according all this principle that we are talking about, the Independent Living Convention, the spirit of convention. Like I said before, a lot of new services. Providers rise up, follow the money, and they have no this vision of what is the difference from the care and the independent living. So this is the main problem that we see because we are still used to carry to carry all the people that are on the wheelchair or maybe they are blind or something like that. They're just overprotected in some way. Lack of the other services in the community, like long-term care system. We have now a law, but he will be kind of after 1 year he will be implemented, but like it's right now, it's quite problematic because it's not made for the people who have need for 24 hours for personal assistant or to help. Yeah, it's meant like just for 40 hours per week. This is quite nothing. Yeah, only for the older people is quite problematic.
If I can add, why is this a problem? Because no other services in the community were available, everything changed in a way. Everything is PA. That means that they try to change personal assistance so that everything will fill up into the roles of personal assistants. But this is not right, because like Elena said, personal assistance has nothing to do in personal assistance.
Solutions. Yeah, we don't know.
No, maybe also the problems, Elena.
Family member.
Yeah, family members.
This is a big problem
before the law, we had no problem in a way that a family member took over the services for disabled users. But when the law passed, a lot of times happened that family members take over the personal assistance of their disabled family member. And that means that their personal assistance of this family, the disabled family member, did not lead to independence also towards the other family members, but it leads to even more dependence from other family members. And Elena, the also very important thing it is that the cost of personal assistance hour must allow us to get better wages for personal assistance.
Yeah,
no?
this is
And
quite a big fight for us because we want to really give them what they should have.
Yes, in the last two years, we had like a deficit in organizing personal assistance in our organization, even if the law says that the personal assistance hourly rate should cover all the costs of personal assistance. But we did not think only about the problems, we thought also about the solutions to solve those problems.
Yeah, maybe now Mima can you give the link of our handbook that we write on the basis of our long-term experience. What is about independent living? What is independent living? When we get all this inspiration and also the role model of STIL and other craft, Radka and ENIL support. We work also on the institutionalization. We try to fight also for other they are excluded in our society. Yeah, and we are very making effort for the evaluation of the personal assistance law. So we are quite involved in all the political activities. This is quite a big work for us. We are always very loud. So yeah, and then now you can ask something. Maybe I will present my dear colleague Claudia Polakot. We are together like, I don't know, 40 years or even more.
Since I was 7, 8, something like this. So it's
together,
more than 40 years.
Yeah, we were together in the institution in Kamnik, and then we
together
rise up.
established the
Yeah, rise up our organization. So, ja pričam i srpski, tako da me kdo može...
I can also speak Serbian, so if you prefer, you can ask the questions in Serbian.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Elena. Hvala puno, Elena i
Thank you very much,
Claudia.
Elena. Thank you,
Sada je vrijeme za
Claudia.
vaša pitanja
Now is the time for your questions and answers
naših svih
that will be
gostiju,
provided by all of our
svih
guests,
govornica.
panelists, our speakers. We already have some questions in the chat
Za pitanje i odgovore, tako da
and in the Q&A section, so I will give the floor to Anna. We will prolong the spot a little bit in order to be able to respond to all of the questions that you've raised. First question that we had during the end of the last second session, I wanted to ask how the user proves to the system how many hours of personal assistance they need per week. And is anybody else performing these kinds of assessments together with the beneficiary? I think that Elena and Claudia already answered to this question, so maybe Jessica and Martina, if you have anything to add. So do you have anything to add to the answers that we had previously?
Yeah, I can. The assessment, actually, the municipality or the social security, they will talk to us and ask us what we need personal assistance to and how much, and we can have our support by someone who knows us or someone who knows the law. Often some kind of represent from the provider, and we talk, and then they give us our hours, but they do all the counting and stuff at the authority. So we have a dialogue with them, but they take their own decision.
Yeah, we have also the assessment, and you have very precise describe your activities. It's not enough if I said I won't be wash, but I have to explain. I can't do nothing. Even if I want to brush my teeth, I need the support to take my hand and to brush my teeth, for example. You have precisely described every activity that you need to write down, to be clear that you can do this thing without a help of another person.
Yeah, in Norway, in your application, you will write down all your activities that you do within 24 hours, and then you describe how much time you need to do these activities, like going out of bed, getting dressed, going to the bathroom, having breakfast, making breakfast, get dressed, go out, all these kind of activities. You have to describe that in your application for personal assistance, and then when the application is sent into the municipalities, some caseworker will come to your home or have a meeting with you at their office, and then they are going to evaluate what is your actual need of assistance and also evaluate how much time of personal assistance you need to do these activities. But like I said, it's based on the law of health and care services. So personal assistance is not legally seen as a tool for independence and equality yet. So we are trying to change that so we also can get enough hours of personal assistance to be active in the organization or political active and also get personal assistance for that, because that is very hard now when it's anchored in the Health and Care Services Act.
And I can add that if you're not satisfied with the hours you get, you can go to court and go all the way up in 3 instances in Sweden. And a lot of cases do so nowadays, unfortunately.
In Slovenia, you don't need to go to court to complain about the hours you get. It's enough at the first step to complain to the ministry. Right, Elena?
Yeah.
Hvala. Da li je to od odgovora? Da li ima
Thank
još
you.
neko nešto doda vezano za
Is
ovo pitanje?
there anybody else who would like to add something regarding this question? If no, I would like to read one clarification regarding the question related to persons with severe disabilities. Are there any limitations regarding the right to other services? Sonia gave adapted apartment, adapted transport, personal disability as material right, and a dog that you might use.
We also have we also have
Dog.
You can use both. You can the help dog. It's a right accordingly to the medical to the medical law, to another law. Actually, dog helper for blind is by the health insurance. It's a right by health insurance. Dog helper for people in wheelchair is a right by the law of equal opportunities. So you can use both. Then your like income out of your disability, it's also you can have both, but it's like if you have like income for a disability, it's yours. But if you have income for help, then you must half of these allowances give back for personal assistance, not the whole income for help. For example, Elena has like the highest income for help. It's about 450 euros now, something like this. Yeah, and half of this amount she must pay back for personal assistance because it's an income intended for personal help and in this way. So also you said like adaptable housing. It is like if you got an apartment on local community housing department because you're disabled. These are like public tenders. It's not excluded with personal assistance. But if you're included in a kind of, it's called, a service is called housing with support by social inclusion law, then you cannot have housing with support and also personal assistance. So it's a little bit every right you have, you must know if it can be combined with personal assistance or it cannot be combined. And it's on you to choose the right service for
Better
you.
service for you, yeah. Yeah. And also adaptation of your house. It's also possibility that you can from another law that you get a lift or something to adapt your apartment to facilitate personal assistance in your home and your apartment. It is also possible.
Hvala. Da li ima još neko neka pitanja? Može
Thank
slobodno
you.
da
Is there
pošalje.
anybody else who has some questions? You can also send them in the Q&A section.
Ja imam pitanje za
I have a question
govornice.
for the
Da li je
panelists.
naknada po satu za personalnu
Is the fee per
asistenciju
hour for personal assistance
drugačija ako neko ima
different
visoke
if somebody has more needs for these kinds of support, like you, Elena, compared to somebody who needs perhaps
30-40 sati personalne
30,
asistencije
40
ili
hours of
pa
personal assistance per week,
sve
but they don't need
aktivnosti,
personal assistance for all of the
ne trebamo za
activities.
pranje zuba,
So they don't
za
need assistance when it comes to brushing their
kakva je
teeth or
situacija u
for
svim
dressing.
u
So
zemljama iz
what's the
Europske unije?
situation in your respective countries, Sweden, Norway, Slovenia?
Claudia, you will explain, please.
Okay, the hour rate, it's only one, unfortunately, because we find out if you have many users who has severe disability and then also the wages of personal assistance are higher, then the hour rate, existing hour rate, it's not enough to cover all the expenses. So that means that if you have a personal assistance that is like you explained before, like simple, maybe just help at home or a companionship, or if you have personal assistance, if you are if you have like a user who has severe needs, then it is the same hour rate, unfortunately. But this is also one of the things we are trying to change at our ministry.
We make a few propositions already, but now we are expecting, and also like personal assistance provider, we try to stimulate this personal assistance with like Claudia say, how it says.
Hour wage.
Yeah,
For
hour
if they
wage, yeah.
also higher wage if they work with somebody who has severe demands in everyday life, and because otherwise the assistants also choose not to work like where there is a lot to do, but they choose like lighter user, they say, it's which is completely wrong and not accordingly to our principles. So yes, we hope that the ministry will took in consideration some of our propositions.
Hvala na odgovoru. Sada bi Svetlana Dujović
Thank
htjela
you for the
postaviti
answers. Now
pitanje.
Svetlana Dujic would like to ask the question.
Trebalo bi da možete, Svetlana, da
Svetlana, hopefully you'll be able to ask the question
postavite
now.
pitanje.
Dobar dan svima. Evo ja
Good day
neću
to
da
all of
postavim
you.
pitanje, nego
I'll not ask
tu sam da
a
se
question.
uključim.
Actually, I'm
Ja sam
here
Svetlana
just
Dujić,
to
Ministarstvo
comment. I'm
socijalnog
Svetlana
stara,
Dujic from the Ministry of Social Welfare
da se
and
zahvalim
Demography.
na
I would like to thank Mima for an excellent webinar that she organized, and of course to all of the experts whose whose expertise we heard about today and about the situation in their respective states. So hopefully this will be of great help to us in the upcoming period so that we can also improve the policies of inclusion of persons with disabilities in the communities and achieving their rights. Montenegro is, of course, late compared to your countries, but we've planned to adopt the strategy of deinstitutionalization by the end of the year, and hopefully in the next 4 years the situation will improve. And of course, we've planned improvement of the provision of personal assistance. We'll see, we'll cooperate with Mima also, who is a member and of the majority of the work groups as well, and we will take into account her knowledge and experience, and hopefully we will be working together on development of inclusive society. Thank you very much for everything that you presented today, and somehow we are looking up to you, and we are looking at what is good and what is not so good so that we do not make the same mistakes, and in any case to go towards achieving better rights and life of persons with disabilities. Thank you very much. We are always here for you. Thank you to Mima. And also Mima and I and others are here to help you with your advice. And listen to Mima, she knows the best what she needs, what we need, and how this needs to be achieved. Thank you very much. Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you for the support. Just regarding the previous question, if Jessica and Martine can give the answer to whether in Sweden and in Norway, is there a difference in the hourly rates for personal assistance for persons that have high demands when it comes to personal assistance and for those who have lower needs, lesser needs, because this is important for this is an important question for myself and for the work of the work groups that I'm involved in. Thank you.
Yes, in Sweden you can apply for a higher rate, up to 12% higher than the usual rate, and you can have that if you need personal assistance with certain competence, or if you have personal assistance around the clock. If they work a lot of nights and weekends, you can apply for the higher cost for the wages. And also if you need some sort of extra education or training for the personal assistance. But it's quite complicated system, and that's why even if I have my assistance all the time, 24 hours a day, I haven't applied for this, because you have to pay back all the money, and it's very complicated. So it's just those who really needs it that actually apply for it, I can say.
So the hourly rate for personal assistance in Norway depends where you live, because it's the municipalities that set the hourly rate for personal assistance. So we have a very difficult situation in Norway now, because almost all the municipalities cutting the hourly rate for personal assistance, which means that a lot of private companies or us that facilitate personal assistance through an independent living organization, we want the hourly rate for personal assistance to be good enough so we can ensure that our assistants get the salary and that is according to the law that they should get. But we see also in some municipalities we cannot provide personal assistance because the hourly rate for personal assistance is too low, so it's not beneficial for us because we will lose money of it and we cannot provide the salary for personal assistance according to the law. So then disabled people who need personal assistance in those municipalities need to have the municipalities as an employer and not they cannot have the freedom of choice to choose an independent living organization as to facilitate the personal assistance, unfortunately.
Hvala na odgovorima. Ivana Grozdanić želi nešto da pita.
Thank you for your answers. Ivana Grozdanić would like to ask a question.
Može sam da se uključi mikrofon?
Can I ask you to turn on the microphone, please?
Možete, Ivana.
Dobar dan svima. Ja sam Ivana Grozdanić.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ivana Grozdanić. I'm the social worker from the Center for Social Work from Nikšić. And first of all, I would like to greet Mima as the organizer, also to thank all the participants, all the guests, and I would like to point out what was particularly interesting to me, and Elena mentioned it. In order to start working on your vision, it is necessary to have a personal assistant. So that maybe exceeds the frame of the basic needs, considering how things are treated. And since I heard that, this is a question for me, how to deal with personal needs. And we're having interference, sorry. I will continue. Sorry, I'm in the office and somebody entered the office. And then I have a question. The first question, based on your experiences, can you tell me what would be the criteria for the selection of personal assistance in terms of character and so on? Something that could be used as standard, or how the provider could choose the criteria. That would be the first question. And then for Mima, are you organizing training courses as a team? Do you have databases of personal assistance, or you provide training courses once the personal assistance is appointed by the user? Now I will let you answer the questions, and I would like to greet you all. Thank you, Ivana. Since the moderator turned on my microphone, I will try to answer your question briefly. Imi Boke is a licensed provider as of recently. So first we have communication with the user. So if the user already has someone to suggest or to propose in this role, then we hire this person, because we train this person, because the user knows the needs best and can help them learn how to meet their needs. If the user does not have anyone to suggest who could be hired in this role, then based on the self-assessment that every beneficiary must have, and the assessment of the professionals, since we need to determine the level of the necessary support, based on that, we comprise, let's say we make an advertisement
objavljujemo kako na
and
Zavodu za zapošljavanje, tako
we
i na društvenim mrežama.
announce it
drugim ili
in the
platformama
National
za
Employment
zapošljavanje,
Agency
zavisno o
and
dogovoru,
also
naravno,
on
sa
the social
korisnikom.
networks
Jer prije
in order
svega
to find someone
korisniku
in
mora da
accordance in
omogućeno
agreement
pravo,
with the
omogućeno
user,
pravo izbora i
because the user
kontrole,
has the right to
odnosno
choose and
stanovitog kako
control
će se mogla za njegovom,
the process
za
of
njegovim potencijalnim asistentima
selection of the
objaviti.
potential assistance.
To je što se tiče, a naravno da svakako
And
imamo
of course, we
obuku, da tako kažemo, i samog
organize
korisnika i
training
personalnog
courses for
asistenta,
both the
koji
users
bi
and personal
trajao
assistants.
upravo kao što
And
je u Sloveniji slučaj
just like in Slovenia,
u pružaocu u kome rade Elena i Klaudija,
the
nekih
user
6 do 8 sati, on bi se mogao
has a training
podijeliti.
in
On bi
duration
se
of
mogao
6 to 8
održati u jednom
hours.
danu ili se podijeliti u
Could be
više
in
dana,
one
zavisno
day
od
or could be
toga
divided in a few
kako
days,
korisnik i
depending
asistent
on
mogu u stvari da se organizuju
the
da
agreement of the beneficial of the user and the assistance.
To je moj odgovor, hvala.
And that is my answer. Thank you.
I don't have a special demands. I just need, I want a personal assistant to be precise and to give me the feedback. And I don't want personal assistants who have any medical or, you know, this approach of care and something, because I'm very tough woman. And I have my opinion in everything, so I don't want to have something by my side to tell me, oh, this is not quite healthy to eat, or this is too much that you drink today, or you don't have to smoke because it's not good for your health, and stuff like that. So I don't choose assistants who are tendency in this kind of attitude.
And also the law does not demand any special education except the 1 day per year for the personal assistance. So personal assistant can be anyone who is older than 18, and of course who does not have any criminal background on discrimination or abuse. We are checking that kind of things. But in otherwise, the personal assistant is everyone who are chosen by the user to try to be the personal assistants. Usually we employ personal assistants, and then they have 6-month trial time. That means that in this time the user can decide if this person is right for him, or maybe he would like to try. And also the personal assistants can see if this work is for him, or maybe he will try some other work. So it's, but the most important thing is that in this 6-month trial time, the user is the one who has to say, yes, this person is right to be my personal assistant. Also, if the personal assistants stop to work by one user and go to work to another user, then they have there they have again the training, because in our opinion there is no way that 2 users have the same demands or the same way of making things. So it's always, that's why it's called personal. That means that they try to do what the user says to them, not what is supposed to be done, like Elena said.
We don't, sorry.
Sorry, you can talk.
Okay, we don't have any more requirement for the personal assistant in Norway, other than that you cannot have a criminal background. You have to be clean. and you have to be above 18 years old, so you have to be an adult. And in some municipalities, they say that the personal assistants need to speak Norwegian for practical reasons. But in other municipalities, you can choose yourself if it's enough that the personal assistants can speak fluently English, and that is a way to communicate. Otherwise, it's very important that the person in need of personal assistance decide themselves who is going to be their personal assistants, because it's personal and you know which kind of person you need to assist you. And if you want a person that is flexible, or if you want a person that is very punctual and stuff like that. So that's why you, when you are recruiting personal assistants, you should have the interview with the candidates to see if they fit into your life, basically. Yeah.
Yes, and it's the same here in Sweden as well. It's up to the user to decide who will work as a personal assistant and what criteria they need. Of course, we give them support to think, but I mean, I don't have any sort of criteria by myself. I think my assistants need to like cats, because I have 2 cats. That's a good idea, that they are afraid of them, for example. And the training is done by the user themselves. Most people let the newest personal assistants work beside more an older personal assistants to see what the work will look like. And but you have to be over 18 years, and the criminal records need to be checked for personal assistant who will work for children and not for adults in Sweden. And other things that it is recommended that the PA knows about the CRPD and the legislation about personal assistance in Sweden, but that's all you need.
Ukoliko nema više pitanja, samo ako može.
Nema za sad, ne.
In case there are no more questions, so far no questions. I must say that it's been a pleasure to meet you all and to hear experiences of our colleagues from Sweden, Norway, and Slovenia, Italy, and because here in Montenegro, we are at the very beginning when it comes to personal assistance. After all those presentations and discussions, the conclusion that is imposed is that the personal assistance has to be recognized as a human right. It should not be limited by number of hours, but if it is, then it should be at least 24 hours a day. And as a human right, the costs should not be limited by the income of the user, because if that happens, we will not be able to talk about personal assistance as human rights. And we also are under the impression that in other more developed countries that are a role model to us, unattainable role model. Those countries also have challenges in defining and providing personal assistance, and that we need to keep in mind those challenges as well. And as the representative of the ministry said, we need to prevent them now, when we are here, when we are at the beginning. Your experiences will be very valuable for us during the discussions for drafting of this law, and particularly for covering the costs of the personal assistance as well. Thank you all for being here with us today on this webinar. There was a great deal of interest, and thank you for specific and interesting and important questions, and thank you for helping us get the answers to the questions. This webinar will be uploaded on our internet site, both in English and Montenegrin, so we'll make sure that it's subtitled, and we will send you as soon as possible the translated presentations of our speakers so that you can also use them in your further work. Thank you all again for taking part in the webinar, and first of all, thank you to our guests.
Bye.
Good luck, and you can count on our support always. Okay?
Thank you very much.